What the hell is going on?
2 hours had passed since we started. There was absolutely nothing on the internet about Cicada or Kent Korihisa. Obviously, we couldn't find a thing about his time at the Vatican either.
This doesn't make sense. We should be able to find at least a scrap of info. It's like...
He or someone deleted it all.
There's nothing about the Ochanomizu thing either.
Cicada put up the first of his quests in May last year and was supposedly posted from somewhere in Ochanomizu. That info was discovered independently by someone Momo knew, and it wasn't available anywhere else. That's why it wasn't too weird that there was nothing about it on the internet. But Momo said she'd come all the way to Japan on that one lead. That was actually the reason she went to the Ochanomizu crater before we met.
Not even his birth record.
We didn't know where Kent Korihisa was from exactly, but even when we looked at the entire country's records for people with that name born around 1990, we didn't get a single hit. It was always possible that paper records of his birth were filed at some facility near his birthplace, but finding that would have taken ages.
Hold on. I talked with the info brokers I know. No dice. Apparently a bunch of others have asked them to look into Cicada's identity before.
That made sense. There were probably tons of people who wanted to make a name for themselves by unmasking Cicada.
But no matter how hard they tried, they found absolutely nothing. So they've all thrown in the towel.
There's not a single info broker out there who hasn't looked into Cicada. Not a single one who knows who he is either. At this point, people are actually saying that if you want to know more about Cicada, you gotta go to 4chan's hacker board. Hack. Hackers the world over go there for a shot at completing his quests. So there'll be a heap of people on it who want to know more about Cicada.
Is this board again? Nine.
He posts his quests on a bunch of sites, but 4chan's the one with the most people.
How much does Hack know about Cicada anyway?
They don't know zip. Not a single hacker there has ever met him.
It's like his whole existence is a mirage or something.
Maybe he was actually a fictional character to start with. The more I investigated the guy, the more plausible it seemed.
The hackers don't even know his real name's Kent Korihisa. His name alone is actually a real bombshell piece of info. Let's post it. They might help us out.
Is there any way we can prove it's real? I'm pretty sure they'll ask for a source.
I don't have anything at hand.
That's gonna make it hard to convince them.
There was also the fact that the wrong kind of post could put the Vatican on our trail.
We're not sharing it. There's no way to gauge how risky it is for Momo. Anyway, tell us about the quests, Wind. You know more about them than any of us.
Momo probably knew about them too, but I needed a refresher.
Okay, let me tell you everything.
Wind had gathered all the information he could find about the quests. Was the best resource we had.
Gonna have to look over all this info I got.
As he said that he started caressing his own arms, it looked like some weird dance.
Excuse me? What are you doing?
Checking the info.
Huh?
It's a rig mesh. He's not dancing. That's just how he controls his BMI.
Paper-like input device made of silicon. Okay. You could execute the registered commands by touching it with your fingers. It was basically just an input device like my keyboard. It wasn't like you could get the desired results by touching it however you wanted, though the commands changed depending on how you touched it. Wind's input motions were really exaggerated. That was probably because he thought he looked cool and wanted to show off. Normally, people calibrated these so they'd require only the bare minimum movements.
Cicada is a person who, without any prior notice, posts images or URLs in the main internet communities. You can get clues about the incident Cicada causes by analyzing those posts. At that stage, almost nobody can actually guess what the incidents are gonna involve, though. People only notice the link between the clues and the incidents after the incidents actually happen.
We'd participated in 2 of the past quests. When they came in, hackers the world over desperately tried to analyze the resources Cicada provided. The quests were so tough that even wizard-tier hackers were left scratching their heads, though. We tackled the quests without any preparations. Of course, we couldn't pitch into the effort that much.
Anyway, here are the rankings. Hackers that contribute to quest analysis or do stuff that could help prevent the incidents get higher placements. This stuff isn't managed by Cicada himself, though. The people unhacked did it themselves. Cicada's completely uninvolved. They're into all these wild events, and some of them even gamble on them.
Cicada would cause the incidents he hinted at, whether they were analyzed or not. Not a single hacker had been able to stop them, and people had died. And then there were these weirdos treating the whole thing like some party.
This is why I hate hackers.
But you're a hacker too.
Don't group me in with them.
I would have switched jobs the first chance I got.
Nobody's actually prevented an incident yet. But the hackers who helped most during the analysis stage can still reach the top of the ranks.
Being up at the top got you attention from fellow hackers all over the world, as well as individuals and companies looking to hire white hats. Knowing hackers, most of them were probably more interested in making a name for themselves than actually completing the quests.
The Nakano Symphony's members are ranked, Takaoka's in 9,487th, and Yumikawa's in 9,709th. I guess Yumikawa's lower because he tends to act as Takaoka's support.
Wendy's 9,381st. He wins.
Well, it's not like I care where I am in the rankings. I'm not even a hacker, unlike you two.
I don't remember putting my name there.
Anyone who gets even a little bit involved in the quest solving has their name put on there, whether they like it or not.
Wow, well, whatever. The rankings didn't matter.
Why's Cicada doing all this anyway?
Huh? You took part in those quests without knowing any of that? That's actually so cool, in a weird way.
Cicada 3301's first post included a message from him, detailing his motives.
That's so...
I didn't know that.
Here it is. This was posted on Hack sometime after the sad morning. It was Cicada 3301's comeback post. The text here, by the way, is the same as it was in 2010.
Does this mean that if we prevent an incident, Cicada might come to see us?
Maybe. Nobody's done that yet, though, so who knows?
But it's possible, right?
We'd looked into Cicada as thoroughly as possible and still found nothing. It was like the quests were the only lead we had left. And Cicada himself was waiting at the end of them.
Huh? It just... Cicada just posted a new quest! Hack is going wild!
Really?
Talk about perfect timing. Looks like Cicada knows about us.
It's gotta be a coincidence. There's no way we're the first hackers to conduct an investigation into him.
Man, you never lose your cool, huh?
He didn't have to spell it out. I knew it was a coincidence.
Can you bring it up for us?
Wait. There you go.
Good luck, huh?
Message hidden in this image. Financially okay, standard. The goal to say that when he was planning some kind of disaster, I really didn't like this guy. If we used some specific method to analyze this image, we could find a hint leading to the incident Cicada was plotting.
I need to solve it.
Momo was staring at the image with an intense expression.
Then it's decided.
Huh?
Nakano Symphonies is gonna do everything in its power to complete this quest.
Hold on,
You should know by now I'm not the kind of guy who gives up after a couple rejections.
but
It's not like this quest will be a cakewalk, you know.
Yeah, we didn't get anywhere the last 2 times, but I'm not the same person I was back then.
If you're planning to use the you-know-what, I'm gonna go ahead and remind you to be careful.
Momo gave me a little nod. She knew about the saving and loading too.
I won't rely on it too much.
It was still way too mysterious and suspicious. But we didn't have the skill to get to Cicada using normal methods.
If no one's ever prevented one of these quest incidents, then I'll be the first.
And then I'd drag Cicada out into the open. He could count on that.
Woo! Our boy is acting all cool in front of his GF. Don't worry, I totally get ya.
That's not...
Wen still believed that Momo was my GF and that we were eloping. But it would have been a real pain to explain the whole story.
You're not gonna tell him the truth?
I'll do it some other time. And I'm not just acting cool here. I mean every word I say. Cicada and all the other hackers everywhere are gonna find out what I'm all about.
Woo! Our boy's on fire!
Okay. Watcher analyzed the image rapidly. We tried all kinds of stuff ourselves, but we were pretty powerless compared to the collective knowledge of 4chan. First, Cicada had posted the image of a flower. It had been treated using stenography, and an analysis revealed some text in Esperanto. The text was a riddle, and solving it produced another riddle, and so on. We'd ultimately arrived at a certain URL. That's where we found this image, which contained some letters and numbers whose color made them stand out. JA1037E. It was the number of a passenger plane. It was a regular plane that went to and from Haneda several times a day. After we got the hint, we monitored the plane carefully. Nothing seemed amiss, though. Night fell as we watched, and the airport closed before long. The plane stopped flying for the day and was currently parked at the Ninoy Aquino Airport in the Philippines. The hackers in 4chan had concluded that nothing would happen that night. With that in mind, we decided to call it a day and go home. They couldn't leave Momo at Symphony all by herself, so I took her to my place. Symphony was safe, sure, but there was no bed there, so it wasn't an ideal place for anyone to stay for days at a time. But, it was really late, but Momo wasn't sleeping. She was staring at her BMI, intently following the quest progress.
Why don't you get some rest?
I'm fine. Feel free to sleep. You needn't wait up for me.
Take care not to overdo it.
I will.
Damn. I left the room to get something to drink. But as I walked, I stopped in front of my dad's room. It hadn't been touched since the day my dad died. It wasn't like I wanted to keep the memories alive, or cause I thought he might actually come back. I just didn't want to be reminded of him. I was his son, but he'd never really paid much attention to me. He'd spend all his free time after work sitting in his room just working on something. That's how he spent his days off too. He always seemed so distant, working away with his back to me. It's his back that comes to mind when I remember those days. He never once turned to look at me.
Man, why am I getting sentimental?
This was the first time I'd thought about my dad in a while, and I was just fine with that. I clicked my tongue and went to close the door.
Hey! Get her on the chopper!
That's the Vatican.
God damn it!
I'm not wearing any underwear.
Also,
Kabuki Joe. Bingo.
the next thing I knew, I was lying on the floor. Momo was right in front of me, looking at my face with a worried expression.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I looked around quickly. This was my house, right?
What was that all about?
I felt like everything I'd ever experienced suddenly rushed through my head and flashed before my eyes.
You're all sweaty.
Yeah, she was right about that. I was overcome with heavy fatigue, and my heart was beating extremely fast. I didn't know what had happened, so I just sat there for a while.
Exiting VR dive mode.
Asuma opened his eyes. He was seated in a chair. Anyone coming out of a VR dive would be fatigued, and Asuma was no exception. He stood up slowly. Before him there was the large spherical monitor. It displayed the Earth, at least the Earth according to Gaia's simulation. Asuma looked away from it, spinning his cube-shaped device over and over again. An exact display of the simulated scenery Asuma had been watching appeared on the control room's monitor. It showed the intersection between Loop 7 and Hoshukaido. It was the place where 2 days ago a young boy and girl had had an altercation with the army.
Why? What's going on here? No matter how many times I run the simulation, Gaia's results don't make sense. This never happened before. It can't be real. I mean, how? How can the girl just not exist?
Hey, sorry about the late visit.
You're right on time, actually. I just learned something about that woman you almost ran over. Her handle is Juno.
I've heard it before. A hacker, right?
She's the first in the quest rankings. I'm sure you're aware she's considered wizard level by her peers.
Why would someone like that?
I don't know, but she's certainly someone who could do that canvas hack. You mentioned that the meeting with those two didn't go well?
Yeah, it was an interesting chat, but I'm not sure about either of them. I couldn't tell if they were telling the truth or just pulling some smoke and mirror shit.
I looked into what you said they said, and they might have been more honest than you think.
You found something about the airport thing?
I did. The Vatican really did send some special plane to Haneda secretly.
Is it still there?
No, it returned to Rome this morning. The plane was also visited yesterday afternoon by the Chief Cabinet Secretary, as well as the Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs. And all three of them cleared their schedules to be there.
That's one luxury audience. Makes it sound like a real big deal. Does that mean that the Vatican requested something from our government?
Either that, or pressured them.
I'll pass this on to the boy and the girl. That all right with you?
As long as they don't make it public.
All right. That Lucia, though.
I looked into her as well. I still don't have anything confirming her real name, but she arrived in Japan 3 days ago, one day before the army caught up with her. She was spotted by a camera on the Oifuto BPTS base.
Global ballistic point-to-point transport system. Okay.
Hold on. BPTS?
Yes. Some freight from Rome arrived 20 minutes before the sighting. Eyewitnesses report seeing her at the BPTS base on the other side, too. This supports claims of the Vatican's involvement.
She smuggled herself into Japan among high-orbit freight? That kind of shit is tempting death. Was she that desperate to make it to Japan? January 19th, 2038. 7 seconds after 3:14 a.m., huh?
Please respond.
If this news report is credible, I'm getting an error.
I connected!
That's gotta be child's play for Cicada. This is what's going on. What's the status?
How's the channel?
Now's not the time for jokes. It would take all day.
No!
Hold on, we have a problem.
Sorry. I couldn't do it.
Was that a dream? Or...
We've switched to airband due to STS failure. 302, you are off course. Please correct.
Tell the other planes to stay away.
302, do you hear us? 302, please respond.
Went wasn't a part of Nakana Symphonies, but he provided us with a load of info whenever there was a quest going on. It felt unnecessary before, but I really appreciated it now. The plane designated for Flight 302 took off from the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in the Philippines at 6 AM JST. We'd been monitoring it since takeoff, but had noticed anything special or quest-like about it. It was due to arrive at Haneda Airport in 5 minutes. Mom said that she'd seen a vision, so we couldn't relax just yet. She was having a sudden coughing fit. She was holding the 7 cup I'd given her so she could stay hydrated. I had no idea it could make people cough like that.
You've never had a carbonated drink before?
Don't worry, I know all about them.
Her words brimming with confidence, she took another sip of 7 cup.
You sure you're okay?
I am.
Mom kept coughing for a short while afterwards. Yeah, I was pretty sure that was the first 7 cup. Suddenly, for chance, hackers started going crazy.
Is it starting?
It's not clear yet, but something's happened.
Flight 302 canceled its landing. If this news report is credible, the plane's flying away from Haneda.
What's Cicada's plan here?
Flight 302 was almost full, with over 200 people on board. If all those passengers were in danger, there was way more at stake on this quest than either of the previous ones. I hope that wasn't the case, but we barely even had time to hope.
Is it really happening?
Is all this the same as in your vision?
I'm not sure yet.
She said she was unsure, but her gloomy expression said otherwise.
Don't worry. Your vision won't come true. I won't let it.
Hold on.
Well, that sounds promising.
Whoa! Look at our boy showing off again.
I'm being serious here.
I know. You're always a man of your word, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be the first person to complete a quest.
And for that,
I'll need your power, so you better not take it away before I'm done. First, I gotta get some info.
we were keeping a close eye on what was happening, but the situation was changing every second. We were looking at the news, social media, and whatever else we could combine to get as tight a grip on things as possible. The first thing we had to check was...
Huh? This looks legit, doesn't it? It is, right?
Nice.
You found something?
Look at this.
The URL he sent me had a voice file. It had been machine translated, so I could understand what was being said when I played it.
We've switched to airband due to STS failure. 302, you are off course. Please correct.
What is this?
Airband. Sounds like talk between Flight 302 and the control tower.
We have trouble. The autopilot is going off course.
Please use the code to cancel it.
Shit! I'm getting an error.
Please try again.
I've tried lots of times now.
302, you are off course. Please correct.
Tell the other planes to stay away.
302, do you hear us? 302, please respond.
The autopilot's out of control, huh?
Was it just a system error or...
They said that the STS isn't working.
STS, the Sky Transmission System.
latest method of aviation communication. Satelliten.
It was all airband before, but now most planes use the STS lines. It uses different channels, though, to prevent interference with Wi-Fi, and... Oh, sorry, I won't confuse you with the details.
It's okay. I'm familiar enough with it, I think.
If he used the STS to take over 302, that would mean he broke through its tight security.
That's gotta be child's play for Cicada.
It's worth looking into anyway. I'll access Haneda Airport and check on the STS status.
Cross took in hand the folded device that was hanging from his belt, then pressed on its handle. It unfolded. Next he docked the circular unit in the middle. The upper part of the unit rose slightly, exposing the LED lights hidden around it. It began to spin at a high speed. Slightly above the LEDs, Cross began moving his hands like he was both communicating in Morse code and DJing. That was his input method.
I'll keep an eye on 4chan.
Went got to work too, striking weird poses and submitting commands with exaggerated movements. And while they were busy,
I'll connect to the plane's Wi-Fi so I can look inside.
I doubt I was the first person with this idea though. Sure enough, the plane was overwhelmed with access attempts coming from around the world. It wasn't easy to connect under these conditions, but if I could pull it off, I'd probably learn something useful.
Hold on. Let me try.
You think you can do it? Didn't you only start using BMI yesterday?
I'm sure I can.
Momo's eyes were burning with determination. She must be feeling a real sense of duty after seeing that vision.
Alright, I'll teach you how. So, first, connect to the Wi-Fi.
I shared an access tool with her and taught her the basics. She picked up fairly quickly and got started just as fast. Using STS and Wi-Fi would allow us to know what was happening inside the plane, so I figured I might as well focus on the outside. I chose a contact and suddenly heard some music. Was this one of those ringtones? Right as it stopped, an avatar comprised of a 3D scanned face appeared at the edge of my vision.
Oz, there's something I want to ask you.
Ask later then. I gotta go to MLIT.
Ministry of Land Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism now?
If it's about Flight 302, want to share what we know? I'm looking into it for the quest.
For that game, huh? Man, who plays with people's lives like that?
What are you getting mad at me for? Anyway, you want to share the info or not?
Never hurts to know more, I guess.
I knew you'd say that.
Success. Oh, Paul and I connected!
My bad, give me a sec.
Hey!
I ended the call for now and looked at Momo's access tool. It read connected.
Awesome. I'll take over from here.
My own connection was being destabilized by countless others trying to connect. It could cut out at any time, so we couldn't waste a second. I ran my fingers over my keyboard. There was no time to target the plane's systems, so instead I went for...
Alright, I'm in.
I hacked into one of the passengers' tablets, then turned its camera on so I could see inside the cabin.
This ain't a good angle.
I could see way more if I hacked into someone's BMI, but their security was way too tight to hack in such a short amount of time. I moved from tablet to tablet, looking for a decent angle.
There.
The whole plane was panic-stricken. Most of the passengers were still seated, but the rest were anxiously walking around or shouting at each other, terrified. People were standing in front of the cockpit door. They were shouting at the purser to let them in so they could speak with the captain. There was one thing I didn't see though.
There aren't any hijackers.
I couldn't see a single person using knives or guns to terrorize the passengers.
It's gone.
There goes the connection. We got enough though.
I uploaded the recording to I got to Pick Drop.
Is this from the plane? Takaoka, my man! You're actually competing with the other hackers!
Momo's the one who connected to the plane's Wi-Fi, though.
Woo! Lovey-dovey co-op! You love to see it! I gotta upload this.
Wait, what?
All data found has gotta be shared! It's common courtesy to everyone else on the quest! Oh, but I can't post Isaac's name, can I? I guess I'll just do this then.
He actually used GF. I was gonna get the 3rd degree from all the hackers I knew.
So this is what's going on.
Cross had figured something out from his Haneda airport hack.
Both the STS and the plane systems were hacked into and taken over from the outside. And the plane's autopilot is being controlled by guidance data sent from somewhere outside the airport.
So there weren't any hijackers, because the checking happened remotely.
That means this is the first ever hijacking from the ground!
When she had so much info that my whole field of view was buried with text and images. I closed it all and used my own app to check 4chan. The hackers were realizing this was all part of the quest and going wild. Someone used the remaining fuel to calculate how much longer the plane could stay airborne, then distributed a countdown app moments later.
Man, Cicada can screw himself.
There's never a good reason to mess with people's lives like this, especially not so many at once.
It's going down in 40 minutes.
Which will make it 10:32.
Only the greatest hackers could get anything done in such a small window, but quests were never generous with their time frames. We just had to do with what we were given.
Sorry, stuff came up.
I went and contacted Oz again.
Stuff like...
We connected to the plane's Wi-Fi and got a look inside while my buddy was checking out the STS.
I looked at Cross, who instantly joined the conversation.
Nice to meet you, Oz. I hear you've been helping this guy out.
You the one who looked into the STS? What's the status?
It's being hacked from the outside. The culprit is controlling 302's autopilot from outside the airport.
I guess that's who cut the airband, too.
Most likely, yes. The plane's Wi-Fi still works, but it's unusable since so many people are trying to access it.
Hey, are there any other channels? Like, some emergency band that can only be used by the MTIL?
If they had one, they would have used it already. You think you could take back the STS?
Definitely not in the time we have left. And even without the ticking clock, I'm not sure it'd be possible.
Excuse me. Can the STS be cut off? The hack would stop without it, wouldn't it?
Even the MTIL's manuals recommend disconnecting from the STS in an emergency. But if that worked here, we wouldn't need hackers, would we?
So that solution would be too easy.
Easy fixes probably lead to traps.
But the MTIL's thinking of disconnecting, right?
Yeah, that's why I warned them. Got them to postpone the disconnection. That idea came from the Cyber Countermeasures office, though.
That's where the Cyberforce dolls work, right?
They had weird outfits, but they were pretty good.
I'll try a reverse hack. If we find the source of the guidance data, we might be able to override it and help 302 land.
With all the channels that it seemed like the obvious thing to do, the other hackers must have been trying the same thing. But would the obvious course of action really solve a quest? If it was that simple, people would have completed one of the others. I had to change my perspective and think outside the box.
Do you have any ideas?
What would you normally never do in this situation?
Excuse me?
I could tell from her expression that she really didn't expect me to come back with another question. The expression turned quickly from shocked to serious, though.
You'd never do anything unorthodox. Like, well, finding a new way.
Finding a new way?
Since everyone's trying to find a solution using the means already available to them, starting from scratch...
Would be something you'd normally never do.
Exactly.
Matt? Momo's input helped me think outside the box. She had a point, everyone was too focused on existing methods. I mean, we were short on time, so I couldn't really blame them. But that's exactly why I had to throw all those methods aside and restart with a blank canvas. What else can we throw into the mix?
Oh yeah! Oz, you can get the captain's BMI password from the MTIL, right?
Kid, were you even listening? All the channels are dead. Even if we knew the password, we couldn't use it.
That's why we're gonna make a new channel.
Now's not the time for jokes. Even low-flying planes go at like 500 kilometers per hour. Trying to approach one would be absolutely insane.
But not impossible. We'll use our new channel to connect to the captain's BMI and cancel the autopilot.
Putting in the code just shows an error. You know that, don't you? You heard that airband recording too.
That's because all the captain's doing is typing in the code from his BMI. I'm not gonna be doing that. I'm gonna use his authority to hack into the plane's systems, then input the code directly.
You're actually gonna go with this insane plan?
This ain't a discussion. You in or not? You got nothing to lose.
Get back to me when the new channel's ready.
No, he ended the call. Well, he did say to get back to him, so he must have been down with my plan, right? I wasn't totally confident about that, though. Actually, I was getting kind of worried. Man, this wasn't the time for his vague bullshit. He could have just said yes or no. Adults are such a pain in the ass.
Whatever. I'll just assume we have a deal.
Looking for ways to open a new channel, I checked the articles I'd been looking at this morning for anything useful. 302 was equipped with an antenna to receive signals from the surface via geosynchronous sets. That meant that signals sent directly from the surface wouldn't reach it. Hacking into a plane with antennas that could send signals into geosynchronous orbit was way too difficult, though. While scrolling through the articles, I noticed a diagram that made me realize something obvious. Sats weren't the only things that could fly over planes.
No. I need your help.
If it's a date, then I'm your lady.
I want to borrow one of the missiles you fired at the army.
You mean my Barriere? But that was a drone.
Huh? Well, I don't remember it having propellers.
Anything unmanned and remote controlled is a drone, Polly.
So that's what a drone was.
Anyways, I need one so I can open a channel to reach a plane mid-flight.
Huh? Mid-flight?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna use that channel to hack the plane from the surface. A lot of people are in danger. I'm gonna need a virtuoso's help.
I guess I can modify it to make it work. Can you come help me?
Oz's office, right? I'm coming.
I'll help too.
All right, let's go.
Riding my Graper, I snaked my way through the tight roads of Nakano. The business card listed an address south of Nakano Station in District 2. With a little light hacking, I'd be there in no time. When shared some info with me. It said some hacker had found the next hint after the blah blah one.
Wait, it's from 6 minutes ago.
Sorry I'm late.
Other people missed it too. It's not your fault, Wendy.
Yeah, but you know, I'm supposed to be like the quest guy. So, this is kind of pathetic.
How reliable is this hint anyway? Maybe the others ignored it for a reason.
There's no way to verify it right now. That's why I figured we should all work together and try to make sense of it.
I see.
I had to choose between switching my attention to the new hint or concentrating on opening the channel. The best way would be to load, then decode the hint right after it was posted. With such a tight time limit, we needed those 6 minutes, but we weren't sure the hint was legit, so maybe ignoring would be better. Forget loading. It was better to focus on my channel plan. I could reconsider loading if I came to a dead end.
Wind, learn as much as you can. I'll be waiting on some good news from you.
Okay, let's do what we can.
There it is.
It was a pretty huge building. It was sure bigger than I expected a solo detective's office to be anyway. It was 3 stories high, and close to the station too. Looked pretty spacious, like he had a whole floor to himself.
The door's closed.
Hey, where are you?
On the 2nd floor. Use the stairs and come uppity up.
Wait, this whole building was his? No. Momo ran up the stairs beyond the door, and I hurried after her.
Nano?
We heard some sounds, but Nono was nowhere in sight. She must have been busy working.
What do we do now?
Look for this. It should be in storage at the end over there.
A repeater, huh?
Okay, I'll be right back. Whoa!
Scratch that.
Do you know where you last put the...
If I did, I'd be looking for it myself.
Good point, but this was tough without any help whatsoever.
Perhaps there's a camera feature or something like that we could use.
Oh yeah, image comparison apps.
I used mine to scan the photo of the repeater, then shared it with Momo.
An AI can help identify what we're looking for. Try to look over every inch of the place.
Okay, I'll be thorough.
We started our search at the different shelves.
Hey, Polly. You know 302's flight path, right?
No. Do we need it?
If Barry Airy flies as fast as the plane, it'll run out of fuel right away. You gotta shoot it from the right place for this to work.
How's the game so far? It's alright. It's pretty interesting. The writing is a bit... at least at some places it's a bit... I'd say a bit cringe, but overall it's pretty interesting.
Huh? Does that mean that the channel's gonna get cut off fast too?
No worries there. I'll equip the drone with the sticky ball firing system so we can stick the repeater to the plane.
So the channel will stay live as long as the repeater's there? You really are a virtuoso.
I'd barely shared any details with her, but she'd already thought the whole thing through. We had to figure out the flight path.
Wind, you seen any flight path predictions on 4chan?
Let me look for posts about the path. You've got posts about its current location, but no one knows where it's going.
So it's not that easy, huh?
Hey, are you listening? Excuse me?
It sucked, but that was pretty much what I'd expected.
Oh, but I got some good news. It's real juicy info.
Is it about the post from before?
No, that's still being analyzed. But there's something new on 4chan. Look at this.
He sent me some image file.
A logo? For what?
Flight Plan Garuda. It's a flight simulator.
Package Cross sent me displayed a passenger plane.
Looks like this has something to do with the autopilot going wild.
The other hackers are thinking the same thing. They're guessing that some players' inputs are being used as guidance data.
But
And there it is.
meaning our next priority was to find that player.
Momo, I'm going out for a sec.
Okay, leave the repeater to me.
I knew it was a lot for her to dig through alone, but looking into this flight simulator lead could take us right to the flight path. It was important info we needed to complete the quest. Leaving Momo, I went outside to reset my thoughts.
I'll look into Garuda.
Let's both do it. Reverse hacking the source wasn't going too well, so I was trying to come up with Plan B.
Can you get info on the players?
I knew you'd ask. I just hacked into the developer's server. Give me a sec and I'll grab the data.
I figured I'd get some info too. I was gonna use a different method though. I ran a search for Gorula and got an article right away. It was a US-made sim that was published in the West, but you could buy it anywhere in the world. It had sold about 9,000 copies globally. Played the video embedded in the article and saw some actual gameplay.
So you need online verification to start it.
That was a common way to prevent anyone but the buyer from playing games. The gameplay video showed the menu, then the stage select screen and then a load screen that lasted about 5 seconds. There was text in the bottom right saying that something was being downloaded.
Here's the list of players. It's linked to their access states, too. I looked into the stage data as well, but there's nothing about JA-1037E or Flight 302. This is about all we can use.
So 274 people went through online verification right before the plane went out of control.
Looking through everyone would take all day.
There was gameplay footage showing something being downloaded after the stage select screen. Probably stage data from the official servers. But since there's no stage for Flight 302...
I get it. Here, I filtered the list of players who didn't download any stages after verification. It's short enough to check manually now.
Alright, I'll start from the bottom.
I used to play IDs to trace back to the server logs, keeping an eye out for anything strange. First one was fine, same with the second. Third, fourth, fifth. There was one ID with a completely different log. This guy was clearly playing an unofficial stage.
He lives in... Tokyo.
An apartment in Toshima Ward. Swallow Apartments, room 201. His name's Lime Nukui.
Let's see if we can hack in.
I tried checking whether there was a device in the room that I could slip into.
Damn it! Nothing but his BMI.
It'd be faster just to go there. It's like 10 minutes away.
Then I'll...
Finding the source is my job. You've got other things to take care of.
Then send me the flight path data as soon as you have it. I need it for my drone plan.
All right, I'll get it to you.
I'm back. You got the repeater?
I've looked over more than half of what's here, but no luck yet.
I'll see if we can get it elsewhere.
I used the model number to check whether any nearby stores had it in stock.
Seriously? Not a single one?
Expanding the range didn't help either. I contacted some local hackers too, but even they were empty-handed. Pretty rare piece of tech, I guess.
Looks like we'll just have to find it here.
I ran the comparison app and resumed the search.
Repeater, Peter Pumpkin Eater! Show yourself to me!
The repeater was the last thing Nono needed to complete the drone modification, so she joined the search too. It was 10:17 AM. The plane had about 15 minutes of fuel left. We really were running out of time.
We've looked through everything here, so why?
Uma had searched every inch of the storage room all by herself, but she didn't have anything to show for it and was starting to panic.
No. Can I clean up the things on the floor?
Sure you can, but will that actually help?
I don't know, but perhaps we'll find the repeater once we take care of this mess.
Momo began picking up things up from the floor and putting them into the baskets on the shelves. I went over to help out. She froze. She was looking down at a trapdoor that had just been uncovered.
I'll open it.
As she opened it up, the air filled with dust and the smell of mold. They couldn't help coughing a little. Momo dipped her torso straight through the hedge, though, and carefully looked around.
There! I see it!
But
I think it might have fallen through the gap.
Momo climbed back up, wiped the dust off the repeater, and handed it to Nono.
Thanks!
Good job, Momo.
Now we had everything we needed, all we had to do was put it together.
I'll help you finish it.
Okay, to my workshop!
We brought Nono the parts she asked for, held parts in place for her, and generally helped out as we waited.
Hold on. We have a problem.
Cross shared his vision with me. Saw an old Showa-style apartment with Swallow apartments written by the entrance. There were hacker-like people wearing expensive carrier notes out front. Police were holding them back as they tried to get in.
It doesn't look like you'll get in.
I'm too late.
That was when the first door on the second floor, probably to room 201, opened up. And the ones who came out were...
The Cyberforce dolls!
All three gathered outside the door, but Lime Nukui was nowhere inside.
Looks like something happened.
Couldn't hear them, but they looked dissatisfied.
I'm gonna look into this and see if I can't tease out some information. I'll get you that flight path soon.
I'm counting on ya.
Firing system, all good.
Nono stopped working and started the final checks.
Sticky ball, repeater, all good. Power, fuel, all good. Yari, B2 is complete! Ta-da! Clap, clap, clap.
Hell yeah!
We only had about 8 minutes left until the plane went down, though. Even after we hacked into the captain's BMI, the quest wouldn't be over. The landing would take time, so the whole thing was still touch and go.
When you fire it, start by setting up the launch pad and...
You do that. We're firing it from the roof here.
Huh? But it won't reach!
We don't have any other options. Momo, let's bring it up.
Okay.
You got the flight path?
No. Nobody's getting past the cops.
Shit! I guess we'll have to figure something out.
And I went on 4chan to check 302's current location. It was flying south from the Shinjuku area and passing through Meguro. It was getting further and further away from Nakano. We set up the drone controls while Nono was finishing her work.
Ready to fire!
I'm praying for you, Polon.
I really hope this works.
Once Nono had moved away from the launch pad, I entered the firing command. The next moment I was seeing the drone's camera feed. It soared to an immense height immediately and began flying towards Meguro at an extreme speed. I couldn't really tell how fast it was going though, since all I could see was clouds. The drone was tough to control. I could only shift it up, down, left or right. Using the barely visible surface landmarks as a guide, I directed it toward 302's airspace.
Damn it, it's too far away.
I entered the command to accelerate the drone, but it quickly started losing altitude.
No, it's out of fuel!
The drone slowed down and fell out of the sky somewhere around Shimokitazawa.
Sorry. I couldn't do it.
Tears welled up in Momo's eyes, and she looked down to hide them.
You did your best.
No.
Like Nono said, I should have secured the flight path, then fired it from somewhere other than Nakano.
Got an update. You okay?
We failed.
Damn. I hate to say this, but the situation on my side isn't good either. Apparently some hacker got to Lime Nukui before the dolls did. They found his room empty. That's all I could find out.
Okay.
We couldn't do much in the previous quests, so I didn't really think we were gonna complete this one on our first try. Still, this failure made me feel like shit. It wasn't like it was over yet though. As long as we didn't give up, we still had a shot.
I guess we should meet up with Lime Nukui first.
Polon, do you mean to...
Yeah. I'm gonna start over and take care of this whole thing. I can't let all those innocent people die.
And to save them, we had to start by getting the flight path. The quest's not over yet, though. Maybe it's a good idea to keep trying until there's nothing else we can do.
I shouldn't give up until it's over.
It was 10:32 AM, just as the hackers predicted flight 302 ran out of fuel. I struggled for nothing. No one could do anything to prevent it. Not the top quest participants, not even the hacker who outpaced the police. As people all over the world watched in terror and countless hackers gave it their all. Flight 302, with more than 200 passengers on board, fell from the sky and crashed in Odaiba. Don't stay to witness the end of flight. Okay. Oh. Mechanic of the game. It's pretty cool. I mean, this one was the first time where I actually could fail. It's interesting. Okay.
Ah, shut it. I don't get it. I guess we should... Wait, I'm not giving up.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna start over and take care of this whole thing. I can't let all those innocent people die. Yeah, we gotta do it before 302 goes down. Let's restart.
Okay.
Huh? This looks legit, doesn't it? It is, right?
Oh, the airband transmission, right?
Huh? You already know about it? Damn, Takaoka! You got this quest in the bag!
Oh, no, I
accidentally took credit for Wynn's contribution to the quest. Wish I could have said that right, but there was no time to explain. I had to be careful with what I said when I loaded.
No. Can you mod your airy drone thing?
Yes! Finally, someone who knows it's a drone! Oz always calls it a missile.
A drone is anything unmanned and remote controlled, right?
I knew you'd know, Polly!
She was the one who'd told me that, but whatever.
Can you equip it with a sticky projectile firing system? I want to attach a repeater to a plane mid-flight.
Easy peasy. Oh, but I'll need to find a repeater.
I'll send someone to help you with that. You just focus on the modding.
Roger Dodger.
Cross, go help No. I'll send you the address to Oz's office. Go up the stairs outside to the second floor. She'll tell you to look for a repeater, and it'll be under the trapdoor in the storage room.
This isn't your first time, is it?
Nope, it's not. Go help No.
But what are you going to do?
I'm leaving too. There's a place I want to check out. You're coming with me, right?
Oh, yes, I am.
All right, no one's here yet.
I was at an old-looking apartment building I'd seen through Cross's eyes. There were no hackers or cops here.
Is this where Flight 302 is being hacked from?
That's what we're here to find out.
I got off my graper and headed for the building.
Oh, yeah, I gotta talk to Oz.
I scrambled to set up a call as I walked.
When you make it to the MTIL, ask them for the captain's BMI password.
You spying on me?
No, I'm not even into that. I just need your help to save Flight 302. I'm gonna set up a new channel to the plane, and I need you to get me that password by the time it's ready.
I'm gonna need you to explain all this.
There's no time for that. I'm counting on you, bro.
I ended the call before he responded. We were working towards the same goal, so it'd probably work out.
I can worry about that later.
I had to focus on what was in front of me. I went up the stairs and approached room 201. It was an old building, but the security was new. All of the rooms had electronic locks. I tried the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. The place was locked.
I guess we're the first ones here.
It seemed like we were, but I couldn't relax just yet. I had a bad feeling about this, so I went ahead and saved.
Let's do this.
I used a wire to connect my Karai node to the lock, then hacked into its systems and set it to open.
Too easy.
There was a man through the hallway kitchen area, but it didn't look like there was anyone else here. I gave the lock some security software before I took the wire out. It was just a ready-made script, but it'd keep the other hackers busy. Once Momo and I were in the room, I closed the door behind us. There was an AR image of a plane's cockpit in one corner. The man in the captain's seat looked serious as he checked the AR meters and adjusted the levers. It was identical to the Garuda gameplay I'd seen online.
Hold on, look outside.
Mo pointed outside the AR cockpit. High-rise buildings towered above the ground. It was clear he was flying over a metropolis. The AR plane was in the same exact spot as Flight 302, which proved the plane was being hacked from here. The man's profile matched the customer data too. It was Lime Nukui. Now we had to figure out if he was taking part in this knowingly. He noticed us and cried out in surprise. The scenery outside the window began to tilt.
Straighten it out! You're flying an actual plane here!
Who are you? Get out before I call the cops!
Please, calm down and look at this.
Momo brought up an AR picture of the news. There was an image of 302 banking heavily.
No way.
The man nervously corrected the plane in the simulator, straightening out the real 302 in the process.
You're kidding, right?
What else do I have to do to make you believe it?
He was clearly perplexed by all this.
I just ran the game and this stage started up. All I'm doing here is playing it.
So Kent Korihisa didn't order you to do this?
Who?
Cicada 3301, the man behind the quest.
Good news! I got some awesome new info. There's actually a flight simulator that...
I couldn't be bothered to explain, so I just shared my vision with him.
Huh? What's going on here?
I found the Garuda being used for the hack. I'll get 302's flight path from here.
You found the source of the hack? Whoa! For real? Takaoka, you're on fire!
So, you want to launch a drone according to the flight path and open an exclusive channel with the plane. No other options?
I don't know. I've never been here before.
All right. I'll help you investigate.
Me too!
They both got started. Looked at the Garuda screen again.
It's landing in 43 minutes, huh?
It meant that 302 would run out of fuel 12 minutes before the end of the stage.
What are those rings outside?
Momo pointed at the large golden rings outside the cockpit.
They're root rings. I gotta fly through them, and if I go off course, it's game over.
So we can't do an emergency landing from here.
My intuition told me that trying something like that would cut out the plane's guidance data and send it straight down.
Hold on. I checked the dev servers, but there wasn't any data for this stage. Whether to obtain the flight path or to come up with an alternate plan. We'll need to check out the guy's carrier node.
Alright, I'll set up a back door, so you take over.
Ross was better at investigating than I was. I established a wired connection to Lime's carrier node, then started transferring the app I needed to call crossover. I finished setting up the app and created a backdoor exclusive to Nakano Symphonies.
Cross, can you get in?
Yeah, I'm in. Gonna start looking it over.
I'm counting on you.
I removed the wire from the carrier node. Suddenly, the smell of strong perfume hit my nose. The next moment, I felt someone's hand on my shoulder. Momo was sat beside me, but she wasn't reaching out or anything, and Lime was still in the captain's seat. Overcome with dread, I slowly turned around.
Huh?
There was a train coming toward me. What? Weren't we in a room just now? Was this an illusion? Why was I standing on tracks? Was this real? If it was, then I was about to...
Go back!
Yeah. Relieved of tension and fear, my body could move freely and I collapsed where I stood.
I made it.
What's wrong?
Things got bad and I had to load. I was suddenly on these tracks and...
Tracks?
There was no way I could explain it.
Don't worry. That won't happen this time.
Before getting transported to the tracks, I'd felt someone touch my shoulder. That was probably the trigger for it. It had happened about 5 or 6 minutes after we went into room 201. Knowing that was enough for me to avoid it. I didn't know what the trick was, but I'd have plenty of time to figure it out once I dodged it.
Let's do this.
I released the electronic lock just like before and we both stepped inside room 201 again. We explained the situation to Lime Nikui and I began setting up the back door.
Momo, watch my back.
Is someone coming?
Yeah, trust me.
I'd never seen the person, but I knew they'd be here. Keeping an eye out, I finished up the work on the app and created a backdoor for Nakano Symphonies.
I'm in. Beginning the investigation.
I removed the wire from the carrier node and...
Momo?
Spun around and took Momo's hand and pulled on it. A familiar woman stood in front of us. Says her face and the name Juno appeared immediately.
Who is it now?
You were in Shinjuku.
Momo's words jogged my memory. She was the one Oz had almost run over.
So she's #1 in the quest rankings? Didn't see that coming.
#1? would you happen to know anything about Cicada? We're looking for him.
Abandonné. Without restraint.
Juno smiled after she spoke, but there was no joy in her eyes. She began slowly walking towards Momo. I had a bad feeling about this.
Let me focus.
Momo, get away!
Both vanished in an instant. I had to find them. Felt something behind me, and when I turned around...
Polan?
But I reached out and touched the body trapped in the wall. It was completely lifeless.
What?
His eyes were as beads of glass, devoid of any thought or feeling. A path that avoids any encounters with her. Okay. Okay. Ja, ich mach Pause. Tomorrow I'll continue. For now, short break, and then we'll switch to Persona. Hallo Rita. So, machen weiter mit Persona.